Welcome to Playful Podcast, your guide into the underground scene where we discover topics on kink and electronic music every week. Don't forget to subscribe to not miss out on our next episode. We're here today with Istanbul-born and Berlin-based porn producer Emre Busse. In this conversation we speak about being a queer man in Turkey, how he got started in porn as a producer and later also as a performer. We also speak about humor and porn, as well as developing a character and creating a persona with different personality traits than you have yourself. This and much more. Let's get to it. I am Amanda, and this is Playful Podcast.
We are so happy to have you here.
Thank you. Me too.
Great, thank you. Could you tell me a little bit about who you were when you were a kid or like a teenager, like when growing up in Turkey?
I was born in a very multi-ethnic family, so to say. My mother is coming from a Greek descent, and my father's side is completely Kurdish. And my grandparents from my father's side, they were the first generation guest workers in Germany who worked here. And then when my grandfather died, they went back to Turkey. So I grew up in Istanbul, and during my childhood, I mean, I had quite smooth childhood, so to say, like considering the financial difficulties and everything. I was coming from a worker class family, but I was never struggling. So because my family had their own assets, although they were like working class family. And growing up as a queer kid, of course, I have to start from that, because when I first realized that I'm queer, I think it was like when I was 7 years old, when I first saw Spice Girls concert in Istanbul. Yeah, because when I came out to my mom told me that I knew it when I took it to Spice Girls concert. So I thought I was feeling myself quite hard at that time.
So sweet.
Yeah, but then the school years weren't that easy, you know.
But your mom was welcoming.
Yeah,
like
of course.
Yeah, accepting, and your dad was also
Yeah,
accepting?
yeah. I had completely a supportive family considering the LGBT issues. This was never an issue.
Okay, great. And they also felt free to speak about, or like be open about that with their friends. Like it was a...
Yeah.
And the whole... Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, in the whole family. This wasn't the thing, but I'm quite one of the lucky ones, you know, like it's... How to say this? I don't know. Like you grow up in a country when there's a constant hatred towards queer people, especially trans people. You know, you wake up and the first thing you hear, one of our friends has passed away because someone killed that person. You know, you grow up with this kind of information. You become immune to this, which is horrible for me, because normalizing such an unexpected issue is crazy. Yeah. But when I was like in high school, I met with activism, LGBT rights activism, and I got involved in Istanbul Pride. And I was in the organization committee as a volunteer for 3-4 years. And those were the most amazing times of my life because it opened my eyes. And I felt like, you know, I gained extremely important experience considering life, because I touched people that I could never imagine to touch, and you cannot buy this experience with anything.
Yeah. So what were some things you realized then?
One of the things, like, for example, I didn't know what is a trans movement when I was growing up. You know, when I was like 16, 17, I know the representations, but the representations on the media was like trans people waiting for a customer, who are sex workers and waiting for a customer on the street, and who are like, you know, represented as evils of the society. But once you meet with them in the activism scene, and these people started to mother me, show me the things, and you know, how to exist in a community, how to approach in activist movements, how to, you know, touch to another movement and put a dialogue together. For example, one of the people who introduced me activism was a trans woman who was also a leftist. And at that time, I didn't know that much about the leftist politics. So she also introduced me to the leftist scene of Istanbul at that time. So this was like a very eye-opening thing. You know, you wouldn't expect this, that you will learn this from a trans sex worker when you're in the age of 16. But you see what happens.
Yeah.
You know?
But, and then how come you decided to leave Istanbul?
It was actually the time when the Gezi Park protests happened in 2013, if I'm not wrong. But the year before, I already decided that I wanted to leave. So I came up with the idea because of the education reasons, first of all. So I wanted to do master studies, and I didn't want to go so far away from my family. So I wanted to pick Germany for that reason. And also my family has a history with Germany. So I thought, like, why not coming to Germany and trying to, you know, study and have my master's degree. So I applied to Bauhaus University and I got accepted.
And you studied film?
No, I studied fine arts there, but before I had my bachelor's in film and I had a double major. Also, I have a design degree, but then I decided to do master's in fine arts.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you found Berlin.
Yeah. And
That's where you came, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my school was in Weimar, but, you know, it's just like 90,000 people live there and it didn't seem so attractive for me. So I said, okay, mom, we have to do a decision, you know, either I'm staying there and getting some Xanax or we are going to Berlin, you know, like, and she said, yeah, you should go to Berlin, definitely. And then I decided to come to Berlin.
What was your view on the city when you arrived here?
Oh, it was wild in a way because I never experienced something like that before, considering the club culture or the gay culture. Because I remember the first year I came here, I went to Folsom and then I went to Snacks Party. I was just like going to Bergheim because I was also a student at that time. So I had the luxury to enjoy my life, you know. And when you see all these things, then you feel like you've been introduced to so many different cultures and you have so many things to digest. And this helps you to build yourself in a way because it's very eye-opening, so to say.
Yeah, and this was 12 years ago.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
A long time ago.
Exactly.
How would you say you have changed?
Oh, I think, first of all, it changed my entire career. Because first of all, I was introduced to pornography when I was in Istanbul. This is how my interest started. But Berlin allowed me.
I was introduced or I found?
Yeah, both. Yeah, you know, like when I came to Berlin, I was like, okay, actually, I have the luxury to have this as a profession. Because this, you know, people often say that Berlin is a bubble of freedom. But I don't agree that necessarily because there's also the reality of freedom here. You know, you can do many things that you couldn't imagine to do in any other countries of the world, which I experienced myself personally. So I say this from the place of truth. You know?
Yeah, can you mention a few?
Oh yeah, well, I would end up in not a pleasant place, I guess.
Yeah. But okay, let's go back to you discovering porn.
Oh yeah.
So what did you think, or like how was your interest? Were you interested, because obviously you were interested also in art?
Yeah.
So how did it grow from becoming something to like that turns you on to something that you want to create and change and like
I think it started when I was in my bachelor's, because there was a class I remember, what was it called, festival management, something like that. So we supposed to prepare a project that puts a film festival together. It was under the film studies course, you know, like one of these courses. So one of the tutor of this course asked me to come up with a film festival program. And at that time, I don't know why, but I was super interested in Brazilian porn cinema because there is a porn genre in Brazil called porno chanchada. It's comedy and porn. But this genre is, the productions from this genre is banned by the military in the 80s. And Turkey has the similar story. The Turkish erotic cinema is banned in the 80s by military, but these two countries never knew each other in that sense, you know, like this transnational history of cinema binds them together.
Wow.
And I was always interested in doing something with that. So I was I was like very amateur, but in front of my computer at that time, you can imagine the only social network was Facebook. So I was writing to the directors, finding them, stalking them, writing them messages if I can have their movies and translate them from Portuguese to Turkish to show it in my university. And some of them sent me the films actually.
Wow.
And I met with some of the actresses. One of the actresses came from Brazil to Turkey to watch the films with me in the university.
That's major.
Yeah, and I wasn't expecting that because I said to my the tutor, hey, I came up with this idea and I have a huge interest in porn comedy. But it's just because who I am. I'm like very much interested in that. Can we do this? And she supported me. So we came up with like a huge festival program. This little school project turned into a real festival in the university. So this actress came from Brazil to Istanbul. And we showed these films and discussed about how actually military coups and oppression of the military impacts on erotic cinema. And then this was always in my mind. And when I came to Berlin, I met with Chris and Raquel from Pornceptual. So I involved in Pornceptual because they're also Brazilians and I knew these films and so on. Our conversation started from there. And then we became really good friends. And then I joined their team to help them in some of the films and so on. But then I changed my career, continued with the Schwules Museum, the LGBT History Museum of Berlin. And they invited me to do a group show focusing on Turkey there. So, and we had to prepare also a side event program. And in this side event program, I came up with German-Turkish gay porn movies viewing event. Because I knew that when I was like 14, 15, there's this film series called Men of Turkey, which made me laugh so hard. And, you know, like this German directors coming to Turkey, visiting each city and picking a man and showing this man like Men of Istanbul. There is this guy who's supposed to be Men of Istanbul and jerking off in front of the camera. But it also helped me to navigate my sexuality because when I wrote at that time on the porn tubes, like, for example, Pornhub, Xhamster, whatever, like Turkish, these movies were the first one that they came up. So I could actually put the resemblance between my sexuality and these men's sexuality in order to make me feel relaxed about my horniness. You know, this helps you to navigate through finding your own queer voice sexually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in this exhibition, I wanted to do a presentation about these films and show people to these films, but I didn't know that the director of the films came to watch the event. And the week after, they let me the whole archive. They sent me the whole archival material, like including media archive. He said, I loved your presentation. Do something with this in this museum. But I said, listen, I don't want to do an exhibition right now, but I want to do a PhD about it to criticize you. Can I do that?
Okay. Let us, because you are writing this PhD right now.
Yeah.
And it's at the end of it, right?
Yeah,
like
I'm at the end of it. Yeah.
What are some things you discovered?
The thing is, people often think that, because I write about, first of all, I should start from that. Yeah. I write about gay ethnic pornography in post-colonial Europe. So people often think that when we say about ethnic pornography, they want to see the representations like in interracial porn, like black people and white people. So often white people are objectifying black people. But when we say ethnic pornography, we also see that Western Europeans or Nordic countries, so to say, can objectify Russians for their ethnicity to represent their power and dominance on them. So what I want to say is like, okay, we always discuss about between black and white people and how the, you know, objectifying strategies evolve through the history, but we never say actually how this happens between white people or white others, so to say, because Turkish people are also ethnically white others, like Iranians, like Russians, because they're not Anglo-Saxon, but there's also this power dynamic between Western Europe and Eastern Europe, so to say. You know, there's also this aspect of pornography that allows us to talk about these things, you know, to argue about these things, because pornography is a domain of knowledge to me. People often say that it's like just people endlessly fucking for pleasure, but I also see this as like a huge source of knowledge.
Yeah. Wow. But do you see pornography as only, because it sounds like you also see, you see it like very, you have a very vivid idea about what pornography can represent and how it can like shape.
Mm-hmm.
But do you see it mostly like entertainment or also as education?
I think I see it as a bit of both, because I can also watch porn films just to entertain myself. But I also watch porn films because I have a huge interest to write about them academically. But people don't have to have only academic interest to find something interesting or use pornography as an education. Because there are a lot of people, we forget about this, they don't even know how to masturbate in a lot of places in the world. Because, you know, we have their own free spaces here at the moment, but we don't even know, like, there are a lot of people who don't know even how to masturbate.
Yeah. How was your sex education when you grew up?
It was like, first started from the family, of course. Like, I remember my father was like saying some things to me which are very cringy.
What is it?
Yeah, like about how to jerk off and
really?
how to have fun, blah, blah. And I remember he was giving me some magazines also, but I mean...
of course.
Yeah, but I mean, I was like, that's not my taste, but thank you.
Yeah, okay. Did he give you gay porn then?
No, he didn't give me any gay porn because this was like before I came out. This happened like when I was, I think, 13 or 12 even. Like he said, you know, you're getting into, you know, adult life right now. If you're interested, I can always share these things with you, which made me like cringy but at the time. But I think he was doing the right thing. Yeah,
definitely. Not shaming.
Yeah. But when you see that it's your dad who is telling you these kind of things, at that time you can think that, oh yeah, please shut up, I don't want to talk about this. But when I think about it right now, I think he was doing the right thing to introduce me from the very beginning as a normal fact of the life, which I would like to enjoy. So, yeah.
All right. But what are some things you would like to change when it comes to porn?
Oh, that's a tricky one.
It is. Yeah.
I think I want to change the funding eligibility when it comes to porn, because as an alternative porn filmmaker, I see that I'm challenged most of the time by the finances, because I'm not part of any company and I'm not doing OnlyFans, and I'm a filmmaker myself, because and my films are not for mainstream media, and I try to do artistic works. But when I apply to fund my films to the state fundings, the doors are mostly closed to my face. Each time I hear that my films fall under the, first of all, experimental film category, which I find it very weird.
Why? Because fetish.
Because it's like pornography, it's sexuality. They also said that it's because of the LGBT related issues fall under experimental, which sounds very obnoxious to me, like
and
very
that's
weird.
So old.
Yeah, like very old school, but it happens. You know, like this year I applied 2 film fundings, and 2 of them I was only able to apply in experimental film category. And then when I get rejected, they told me that my film is too niche. And so, can someone explain me what is niche when it comes to experimental? because this doesn't make any sense to me.
Subgroup within a subgroup.
Yeah, exactly. I was being too sub, I guess,
Oh my
which is
God.
extraordinary.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so, but if you'd explain what inspires you when you create a film, what is that for you?
Oh, I think, you know what inspired me in my last film, so I can start from that. This Goddesses trilogy, the idea of making a trilogy about the representation of ass, came from me when I was writing about porn. I realized that most of the academics eliminate the subject position. So they write about sex workers, but they actually don't interview with them as part of their methodologies. This is somehow like weird to me. Okay, they don't have to, but it would be so much better to have their opinions because you write about these people, you know? And instead of writing something about this, I didn't want to fall under the same category. I wanted to make a movie because I also think that if we can make a movie that is laughable, people also can talk about it easily. Because we often miss this part of pornography that it could be so much fun. And once we eliminate this humor in it, then it becomes so serious, and people, especially the conservative opposite, so to say, can point out the dangerous parts easily. But actually, we should show more that we have fun with this.
Yeah, definitely.
And that inspires me, like to make it like really something funny. And I'm always thinking like in the film history also, like I'm a huge John Waters fan. And you know, like this camp movies of like Divine's films. Like I want to do something in pornography. So something to, you know, give the whole camp value, but at the same time, give the information, give the critique you want to give. But at the same time, don't forget that you should have fun with this. You know?
Yeah, I love that. The fun aspect is like definitely, yeah, you found it in Brazilian porn.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's something that is not so German.
Oh yeah, definitely. That is definitely not German. But to be honest, it doesn't have to be because
no, exactly.
I mean, Germany is like they have a lot of like different cultures.
We need to get introduced to it.
Exactly.
And get some more joy over here.
Yeah. Yeah. And also like in the recent years, when we look at the porn film festivals, which I think really important spaces for us to introduce our works, because, you know, I just mentioned about the difficulties in being able to fund our movies. You know, like porn film festivals actually introduce a lot of different cultures in pornography, which is a great thing. And it's like the amount of the porn film festivals are highly emerging at the moment. You know, this is a great thing for me because when I see each city started to have their own porn film festival, I become more happy, you know, like because it's like, okay, there is mainstream porn, but what's the place for us? It's these places, you know, these organizations.
My view is that you also like fascinated about fetishes.
Fetish, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Do you think that comes also somehow from discovering that through the Berlin club scene, or what inspires you, like, or where did you get in contact and like start to dwell in it?
To me, fetish is like a drag. This is how I see myself, because when I'm into this fetish persona that I have, I can be someone else that I'm dreaming of. So it allows me to, you know, perform a drag identity, you know, like a drag performance. So I become this overly masculine man that I want to be, and fetish allows me for that. And I like this a lot. But this is like, for example, in my culture, when I grew up in Turkey, in Istanbul, there was no such thing around me. I was introduced fetish highly here in Berlin. And of course, like there's this cultural barrier, because if you look at the history of fetish, it's very much imbued in the religion, and especially in Christianity. So once you're from outside the Christian culture, then you also need to, you know, learn all about the historical references that this fetish lies in. So it was like quite intense experience for me to learn all of this in the beginning. But then once I learned all the information that I need to for myself to have more fun with this fetish culture, then I created my own persona as one of the drag performances. So I call myself like, this is me doing drag.
What's your name?
For me.
Do you have any?
Well, I don't have any name.
No?
Call me whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like, allowing me to access what I want to do.
Why is that separation important? Like, what does it, I understand that it's liberating to create a persona, but why would you say that's necessary also?
It is necessary because you grow up with a lot of, prejudices in your head. You cannot really overcome with what you memorized before, because it's super hard to change all these dynamics psychologically. So in order to do that, you try to find an escape, and creating another persona becomes the easiest escape, because you don't want to deal with yourself in a so intense way. So you need another person to fight with yourself, within yourself.
Boom, I love that. Yeah. So you created a persona for yourself?
Yeah.
How long ago?
I think like 6-7 years ago.
Yeah? Can I ask what it is?
Yeah, it's this fetish dom character that I really enjoy from time to time.
Are you more so dominant?
I'm more dominant, yeah. But part of me is actually fighting with that persona, because it's like not who I am on a daily basis, perhaps, but part of me enjoys this so much, because it's like, it's love and hate relationship with, everybody has this love and hate relationship within themselves. I mean, we don't easily love ourselves, It doesn't happen in every...
It's more normal to not love yourself.
Yeah, exactly. But then, you try to build a connection with yourself. And this allows me to do so. So 6-7 years ago, when I was super interested in fetish, I created this, persona through parties and whatsoever. But then it became part of me. So when I'm having fun in bed, sometimes I want to call this persona to have more fun,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, how lovely.
Yeah.
So this persona, does it dress differently than you, or like what, how far did you take it? It can, you can like, it can eat different than you. It can, do, you can take it so far.
No,
and
definitely. One time I had a full-time submissive sex slave. So, we were like having 24/7 situation. And at that time I realized that I'm actually doing something very unfair to myself. I forgot to be myself. I should go back to the reality.
When you had a sub?
Oh, it was like 5 years ago.
And then you realized you were not being authentically yourself.
Yeah, because of the fact that I was just all the time with that persona. I had to, have my on and off moments. I need to, it's like a unwanted spirit. You just need to call this spirit once in every while, and it needs to go away. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I enjoy it like that. I mean, of course, there are a lot of people who are being authentic self and is like living their fetish life 24/7, but I also enjoy the performative side of it. And I want to be that person whenever I wish to be.
Yeah.
And I like to have multiple different personalities for myself, because I love being this sick ideologies in my head. Why not?
Yeah. All right. So in what ways does the character differ from you, who you are right now, for example?
I think it differs from me when it comes to mercy, because I'm like actually in my daily life a very thoughtful, merciful person. And I'm like, coming from this activism background, and I want to really help people. But when I become this person, I become truly a cruel bitch. So that you don't even want to talk,
Can it also be problematic?
It could be. It could be. But I mean, a little bit of problematic is why not? So, it's the freedom of speech. So it triggers my freedom of speech. You need a little bit of problem to think freely.
Yeah. When do you call on this person? Can it be when you're at clubs often, or?
Yeah.
Are you making a lot of enemies at clubs then?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, even if they're enemies, I didn't give that much of attention to them. So they should slide into my DMs.
All right, I love it. Okay, but you don't have a name for your character.
No, we should make one. I don't know. You can find one. You can be the name mother.
Oh wow, mother. Okay, but then I need to really think.
Yeah.
So I'll send you.
Yeah,
later.
send me later a DM.
But I think you also need to get to know the person.
Okay. Well.
Could you switch into character?
Oh, right now that's so hard.
Is it hard?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it takes a little bit of preparation. I can
exactly.
Imagine.
Yeah.
So how do
we
you
need an anal shower.
Yeah, that's your preparation.
Yeah, no. I just wanted to make fun of it. Yeah.
Who knows? It can be okay, but how long time do you need to prepare, would you say?
Oh no, I mean it's just like it's not very calculated. I just go by the, spirit. Sometimes I just wake up very horny and I want to be that character. I be that character immediately. It doesn't need any kind of preparation for me. But sometimes people also ask me, oh, can you come into this shooting for the porn film making and can you, do this and do that? Then it becomes a preparation for me.
Yeah. You said also that you don't make films for heteronormative people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, can you explain why that is? Like, do you think they wouldn't understand, or why isn't it for them?
Because everybody else is doing films for them. Let me be the one who's not making films for them. I mean, I said this purposefully, of course, because if you don't have this queer mindset, you can of course watch my films. That doesn't mean, I don't ask a queer license plate to watch my films. So anyone can watch those films, of course, but if you don't have this perception, then it doesn't make so much sense, perhaps. But the reason that I said that I don't make films for the heteronormative people is that I want to contribute to the queer culture. I want to honor queer culture with my projects. It's because of that. It's not because of the fact that, I'm against to hetero people or whatever, but I'm against to normative people, not the I'm also against homonormative people. Not only heteronormative, but there could be also homonormative people, like this gay culture who are extremely misogynist or so on. I'm also against to that too.
Yeah.
Not only heteronormative, but any kind of normative idea.
They would benefit from your films, maybe even more.
I mean, anyone can benefit from this. I receive so many emails from straight guys that watch my films, and they ask the contacts on Instagram. Yeah, they don't add me, but they sent DMs
of their dicks.
Oh yeah, they ask me the names of in the peoples who participate in my films. Yeah, the cast members and so on. I watch a film.
Why do you think this is?
I mean, they're closeted gays probably, or they just have this part of pleasure, but they're very much in an oppressive surrounding, who cannot really be loud about their desire. So I think this is the main reason. I'm not judging those people too. You never know what they're going through, but at the same time, it's fun to see.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because it's not something that I would expect.
No, you go to Instagram and they're with their family.
Yeah, this happens quite often.
Very interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, but besides creating films, you're actually also an actor or a performer.
Oh yeah.
So when did you start to perform yourself in porn films?
I think I started in 2015 first, when we first doing films for Pornceptual. At that time, I was also asked by Antonio da Silva, who is also a porn filmmaker, to participate in one of his films. And then I was asked by other directors as well to be in their films. I said, okay, I need to do this because I write about these people. I write about these histories on in an academic field. But at the same time, on an artistic production, if I'm showing about these people, I should be one of these people. Then I wouldn't be authentic.
And having the knowledge even behind the camera.
Yeah.
I can imagine that it makes a change.
Yeah, because also a lot of people talk about porn filmmakers or porn actors or, the strippers, performers, whatever, sex workers. But at the same time, people don't know about these people. They just talk about these people, but they don't know who these people are. So I don't want to be one of them. So I decided to, why not just joining and doing something, because it's also fun. And I wanted to, challenge myself, because when I told my parents first that I'm going to do this, they said, but you want to also go for the academic career or artistic career. Don't you think that this would impact for, like, do you think the world is ready for that? This. I said, I'm not the first one. Look at the examples. Like, we have Annie Sprinkle, who is, like an academic on pornography, and she's a feminist porn icon. Like, why not? If she done that, I can also give it a try. And if the stigmas will come with this experience, I'm okay to bear with those, fine. One of us had to do this, I think. And, like, what I want to say, when you're doing a porn film, also, like, porn stardom is a really weird term. Because if you're an actor, you do the film, but after the film, you're out of the character.
Yeah.
But in porn stardom, once you become the character, it's also yourself. It's your body. How can you escape from that character? It's very interesting for me to think about this.
You don't think you can?
I think you
in
can.
In the same way as in other actors?
I think you can, in a way that you can change the character, of course. But at the same time, for example, if you go to porn industry with a name, that you're always... It
feels definitely more personal when you're naked.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Because also with the faces, you put makeup and da-da-da-da-da. But when it comes to your body, like, no one looks like you.
Exactly. Yeah. And you can, of course, do, like, a lot of different makeups, costumes, whatever. But this porn persona also, it's about pleasure. It's attached to that. You're actually filming in front of a camera, showing how you have pleasure. Even if you're faking that, it would be so hard to fake on that. It's like it challenged me as a person to understand how actually people handle this, because it's a very different methodology of acting. Porn film acting, and people don't consider often like as this is a methodology, but to me porn acting is a methodology.
Were you prepared for that when you entered your first set?
Oh yeah. I was thinking about it, but first I had a lot of, like, drinks because I was very anxious. I mean, I think this is very natural because it's your first porn film, and you were never on in front of camera, and I just wanted to drink a bit to make me relax. And then, like, I started to show my true self. I didn't actually fake anything. People do this. These are unnecessary. This is just like the mainstream market.
Sometimes I imagine, like, I envision that I can hear when people are faking it.
Yeah.
But I don't think I can. But sometimes you can be like, it doesn't sound genuine.
Definitely.
But maybe some people don't sound genuine.
I don't know. Because also, like, I'm in the lucky place, I guess, because I also did fetish porn. And you cannot really fake in fetish regarding pain and pleasure, I mean, when I whip someone with a huge flogger, I don't think this person can do,
No.
Like, that's very hard.
No, yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay, were there, so you had a few drinks and then you entered the set?
I entered the set. It was actually in my room. The director came.
Your home?
Yeah, director came to film it in my home.
Together with someone?
No, we started with solo, but then with someone.
Oh, right.
We had the solo scene first to warm me up.
That's good.
Yeah, so I like that. Yeah, of course, because I also copied that approach for myself. It's always good because then you have this person feeling good, relaxed in front of the camera, so someone else can come and do something.
The people behind the camera then, are they encouraging? Like, wow, that looks beautiful, you look so hot, and these kind of things?
You should do these kind of things. I mean, as a director, I also do, because you have to motivate the people that you're working with. You shouldn't forget that it's a work. Yeah. And if someone is not motivated enough, there will be no good work. There's like very simple mathematics.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay. And then in came a partner.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt natural?
It felt natural because of the thing that I think I knew that person from before.
Perfect.
But just as a friend. We never had something before.
But did you think they were hot?
Oh yeah, I mean, I usually think that everyone is hot in their own way.
Yeah, I think that's good skill.
I'm not that picky.
No,
you know, that's part of being a good slut, I guess. I'm not that picky. Yeah. You know, like, I think everyone is hot in their own way, and if they have the right approach.
Oh my God, I think so. True.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But I think, I usually think the personality. This sounds such a cliche.
Yeah.
But it isn't, though. Like, you can never see on a photo if a person is hot. Like, you can think that the person is hot in a photo, but when you meet the person, I can be sometimes like...
Oh, yeah, but this is like Airbnb situation. This is what I call Airbnb. You know, they're like Airbnb houses. They look amazing in the photos, but then you meet with these people, but they're like Airbnb houses, and the house is like shit.
Exactly.
You don't want to enter.
Yeah, exactly. There's it's really cold, or it's like has a funky smell. It can be anything.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But I mean, like, you know, as I said, with the right approach. Not everyone. Not everyone maybe, but like people usually are hot in their own way. But
definitely, I agree.
I agree on that because I mean, on social media with a lot of filters and all these things, you know, like who is this person actually?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Doesn't do it for me.
No, same.
Yeah.
No filters, thanks.
No. So how do you work with that in your films? Because that shows that you also then care somehow about the personality, I guess.
Yeah, a lot. Because the people who have to be part of the film, they have to have big personalities. Because I love big personalities. You know, they can always, there's a lot to unpack. You know, it was a great pleasure to work with Jamal Phoenix in my film. He is an amazing trans porn talent and like so educated. Also, like you can learn a lot. Also, I'm not saying educated just as like the school wise, but also like life experience.
Yeah.
You know, like it's always pleasure to work with these big personalities, and also like a shy person don't exist so much in porn industry. You know, it's like it's a good thing about that. You know, you can always find like really this bunch of big personalities that you can actually, jump through and learn anything new. Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you make the personality calm? You said they are big personalities, but how do you is there any way on how to lift that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Because when I was doing the first film, Playful Musse, in the Goddesses trilogy, he was so stressed and super, how to say, like he didn't know what to say and blah, blah. I said I stopped filming, but I want you to have a conversation with me now. Of course, I didn't stop filming. I just wanted to, have this conversations, but then I was talking rough who did the camera in the films. I said shoot. Because, you need to prepare people. You need to poke people. I mean, also in my porn films, it's a lot of interview in it. You make people talk in my films. So you really need to prepare them. But of course, I also don't want them to be super prepared because then you take the fun from being spontaneous, because spontaneously you can say very silly things and it can turn out to be the best sentences of the movie. Don't take the surprise element out. Don't make everything super scripted.
No. You don't have so much, so you don't use so much scripts.
I don't. I have the general idea. I mean, in my new film actually I have a script because it's a science fiction. I have to have a script.
Fiction.
Yeah, I decided to, create a science fiction to pay homage to a 70s Italian horror film. And I decided to change my eyes to actually, how to say this, I don't know, replace my eyes with two assholes, which will be like SFX makeup. So I will see the world differently. And I will have the pleasure differently because these two eyes will be fuckable. I will have 3 different holes as a gay man. I mean, also including my mouth. 4.
Exactly.
Amazing,
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay.
I want to question what is the bare minimum when it comes to human desire? I want to know. What is it? Yeah. Because we don't know.
Was it sexy to see someone fuck someone's eye?
I think I take the meaning of the eye while doing this film because this eye and the asshole is very traveling in between metaphorical and being real. But the reason why I did this to eye is like eye is the, organ that we see. I want to, make fun of this ways of seeing and how we see things. But this has nothing to do with the original function of the eye, which is to see. But at the same time, in a metaphorical way, I want to deal with that. So I try to make a sci-fi movie right now, which I hope it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's on...
on the making, still on the making, yeah. Because it's super hard to do the, financially it's extremely hard. Because I have to work with, makeup artists, my cast members, crew members. Also, I want to work with the 3D animation design.
I was going to say, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
We have now come to the part of the podcast where if you're Patreon, you'll get to listen to the extra material where me and Emre gives this golden tips on how to find the best queer porn out there. That's actually also for free. This and much more. Go to patreon.com/playfulmagazine.
Right, last question before extra material. How do you think porn will look in 50 years? If you can dream a little.
Oh,
and hope a little. No, but be realistic if you want.
Yeah. I think, what I hope alternative porn becomes bigger and bigger, and it would challenge the mainstream pornography. And I hope that universities especially recognize pornography fully as a field of art and include this under the film studies. In May, University of Bremen is organizing critical porn studies seminars for 2 months. And I think this is one of the most exciting things that this year that it will happen. And I want to see more of these things coming up. And in 50 years, I hope technology helps us more to challenge the industry and challenge the evil companies, so to say.
Which ones are the evil?
To me, I would say Pornhub.
In what way is Pornhub evil?
Because they were engaged with woman trafficking. Because they have alleged cases regarding woman trafficking. And I don't want to engage in Pornhub in any way after hearing this.
I didn't know.
Yeah. I also didn't know, but I read about it and I was like, this sucks. It needs to be more fair environment. So to say, this kind of things, come on, we shouldn't be talking about these things anymore.
No.
Porn should be done by who wants to do that. You cannot force a woman to do porn or sex work by force. Anyone, not only women. This is just repulsive. That's why I said I hope all the alternative filmmakers gain more success and more fundings. I want to see in 50 years German porn film funding. Why not? This would be amazing.
State funded.
Yeah, state funded queer pornography.
Beautiful.
Please.
Yes, please. Definitely.
Yeah, that would be my dream. And more freedom for us to speak and raise our voices, because we're talking about pornography as a side of marginalized area, but even in the marginalized area, who want to do this job ethically are also marginalized by the mainstream. So, there are also some sites that I've been following, which I can recommend our listeners also, like Lustry or Pink Label TV, to watch good porn.
Yes.
Instead of subscribing on evils, And also you can subscribe your local porn stars through their OnlyFans, Just for Fans, whatever fans account, it's also important.
And you can also get 20% off of your Luster subscription through Playful.
You see?
Right, Philip?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know exactly how it is right now, but
if not, put the blame on us.
Exactly. Wow, thank you so much,
you.
Emre.
Thank you.
I'm gonna give you a hug. Thank you so much.
Thank you
This
so
was
much.
lovely.
This was definitely.
This was it for Playful Podcast this week, but please follow, subscribe, and listen to our next episode. And if you want to have a say about future artists or even ask your own question to one of our guests, follow us on Instagram and make sure to add your question when we lift our coming guests. Thank you so much for joining and see you next week.